Rosberg down the hill. So little gap between the top 5 here, with lap 70 we're on here in Monaco. Been worth the wait, hasn't it?
It has been worth the wait, as it so often is. You can see the spots of rain there on Alonso's cameras. They head down to the back. Mark Webber gingerly going through so many corners in terms of it just doesn't look like he wants to carry a lot of speed. He's very slow through the swimming pool. And of course, Rosberg like the DRS down the pit straight, so that's the one area where Webber's really got to be good, is out of the final corner. Maybe just trying to manage it up. Still Massa locking that left front, as he's done ever since he put this set of tyres on. But all Webber's got to do is be quick off that last corner with his curve.
Yellow flags there, they can't overtake. Sorry, Martin.
Yeah, so he's, somebody presumably went in a bit deep into turn 1 and gone round in the run-off area there. So Webber knows that if he can just be quick out of the last corner, save all his curves for there, and it's car 15 that spun Perez down in the first corner, Sergio Perez, and his miserable afternoon continues. Webber knows they're unlikely to get him anywhere else, and he's causing havoc behind.
But giving us a grandstand finale to a race that has taken a while to evolve. But look at that. Lewis Hamilton, like some very keen police dog, is sniffing all over the back of that Red Bull of Sebastian Vettel. Try and see if he can pick up the seats of what will be 4th place at the moment through the tunnel. Who's brave enough? Who's close enough under braking? Nico Rosberg locks up, and he was far too far away from Mark Webber. As in comes Jean-Eric Vergne for Inters. Is the rain getting heavy enough for intermediate tyres? Is this a gamble worth taking from inside the points for Jean-Eric Vergne?
He's 7th and he's gone for Inters. That's a wild gamble on the weather.
They took a great gamble by changing tyres earlier on. Maybe it necessitated a change at the end for Vergne, but is that one gamble too many, I wonder?
Well, be good information for their sister team at Red Bull. Still the yellows down at turn 1. Somebody else must have gone in the team.
There's David down there, is there?
Yeah, there is, isn't there? Somebody's gone a long way into that run-off area.
Watch a bit better.
Well, we know that Sergio Perez spun, because that's the information we've seen on our timing screens. And we assume, yeah, Sergio Perez is still going round the track. So it's not like he's still there as... Just looking now, McLaren standing by the tyres in the garage. Massa locking up again there. Is Jenson Button?
You think Jenson Button is out of the race?
Let's see, behind Heikki Kovalainen here. This is just coming out of the swimming pool chicane.
Bang.
And makes contact with the rear of the Caterham. Spinning round, Perez avoids it. He's facing the wrong way.
Going to keep the engine going.
And this is now Perez into turn 1, barging wheels for Heikki Kovalainen, and that's why Sergio Perez had that problem there. And I can tell you that Jenson Button is out of this race. Starts down at turn 1. So he must have picked up a puncture in that incident with Kovalainen.
The frustration got the better of him, didn't it? And he had to have a go in the end. And they're sliding around a rascas. They're all over the place there. So there is clearly some moisture on the track, still showing 31 degrees. But Webber then being cautious up front, as said, he's just punching the curves out of that last corner, getting on the throttle and making sure. As
here's the thing though, Martin, bad luck for Jenson Button, and last couple of laps it's deprived of any action at the Sainte Devote as well. Now they've cleared that piece of track, so we can maybe get some overtaking into there.
Kovalainen with a broken front wing, and Perez, he's up into 12, but Perez then is now pulled out as well. You know, he's letting the leaders through. That's allowed Kovalainen a bit of breathing space, because they're fighting over 12th place, 12th place, but Kovalainen will struggle like crazy now, and will probably be given the black and orange flag for a dangerous car. He'll have to pit, I think, with that front wing as he lets the top 6 through, who are line astern.
Absolute chaos down there, and well done to Kovalainen and Perez for actually staying out of the way of it. As down towards the chicane we come once again. Alonso just that little bit too far back. Becky closing in on him though. So it's getting a chance for Perez, and what are Perez and Kovalainen doing there?
They're fighting over 12th place, and they need it badly, but Kovalainen would have had no grip through the tunnel from the front at all. He'll have to come in the pit. I don't think that was with Jenson, was it? That was when they had the contact down into turn 1.
I would imagine so, yeah, but Kovalainen been barged out of the way by Sergio Perez. He was not really on the on the right line to make that corner, unless Kovalainen really yielded for it, but that is dangerous.
Not sure any downforce at all then, when it's flopping around like that in the front
Still
wing.
staying out.
Stewart's in a look at the turn one incident after the race between Perez and Kovalainen, and down to Ted.
The weather radar says no more rain, so that move of Burns is looking increasingly hasty and ill-advised, but we'll see what happens in the last couple of laps. Meantime, Lewis Hamilton has been told to turn his engine mix and revs right up to the maximum to attack.
Can he find a place to try and attack? That's the main thing here.
A bit fucking
We
late
wondered
for
last year
that.
how it would pan out between Vettel, Alonso and Button as they ran so close in the latter stages. We didn't get the full culmination because of the red flag. Here, it's Webber, it's Rosberg, it's Alonso, it's Vettel, it's Hamilton in the top 5, separated by a few hundred metres.
It's a crazy move from Toro Rosso, doesn't it? They put it all on one number there, didn't they? And at the moment, they were so handsomely in the points in P7, which Di Resta now has with his teammate 1.5 seconds behind him. Raikkonen just about matching him on pace in 9th. So Senna into the points for Williams then in 10th. And Byrne 11th, some 7 seconds off the pace on the wrong tyres.
The only thing I can think of is that he just had no life left in his tyres full stop. So they went on to the intermediates, take a bigger gamble in the hope that the rain came, knowing they had to pit anyway.
Yeah, well, Byrne stopped on lap 17, of course,
Yeah.
to put those slicks on, so I guess they thought, let's take a wild gamble, or, as I said, it's very useful information for the primary Red Bull team.
He's just been lapped at the moment as well. Jean-Eric Byrne as the train, the top 5 train, come through with Sergio Perez hanging at the back of that, a lap down, and making Kovalainen into the pits and back out again. So he was 12th at one stage before he had to come into the pits. Key for him though is to try and be ahead of Timo Glock, who is the man running, or was running, in 14th place at the moment.
Great maturity.
And it's possible there may be a little bit heavier rain just before the end of the race. There could be some opportunities still ahead.
Yeah, last lap tiptoe.
Yes. So, great maturity from Mark Webber up front. He'll do no more than he has to.
Jensen Button trying to make the move on Heikki Kovalainen. We haven't really discussed that. Just went very badly wrong for him, but was that 70-odd laps of frustration building up to one moment?
Yeah, of course. He knew he eventually had to take a half a chance. It turned into no chance, sadly.
3 laps remaining, as you can see on your screen. It has got very, very gloomy here in Monaco, I can tell you that. The temperature dropping on a track to 31 degrees. Every time someone in the grandstand by our commentary box takes a picture, the flashbulbs go off. It's like the strobe lighting in a disco at the moment. It's getting that dark out there. And for these drivers, the tunnel for once offering a little bit of illumination. For Mark Webber, the light at the end of the tunnel has been tantalisingly there for so many laps this afternoon. Can he hang on between now and the end of the next, 5-6 miles of action?
Interesting
He's already
scenario
won
for
one,
Perez, who's had so many
He's already
adventures this
won one,
afternoon.
Webber.
He's now coming up to the back of the leading time.
Oh,
He's
really?
gone faster than them, having stopped twice.
Gonna be 60
And
of them
he'll be trying to muscle his way through, and of course these guys, he won't have any help
That's a
from blue
record.
flag.
6
And
different
this
winners and 6
six
different fastest
drivers
drivers.
will cover by 4 seconds, will not want to entertain that idea at all.
Certainly not. And I've been saying 5, but Massa, the rain does get heavy, then you put Massa into the equation as well. 2 laps to go. The rain's coming. Get here now, otherwise you're going to miss the party. Perez, late on the braking, later on the braking than Felipe Massa, trying to make the move into Sanderbot, no way past on that particular occasion. Mark Webber out in front still with Nico Rosberg, just that little bit too far behind so far to really make a move. Time for one brave move, or time to accept second best, I wonder.
Rosberg just getting a little bit hot into the hairpin, got away with it. There's Perez on the back of the queue I told you about. Carter-Kine pits from
Rosberg's
15,
smashing
but
to the back of
stops. So at the moment we have 14 cars only on track.
Heikki Kovalainen ahead of Timo Glock for what would be Caterham's best results of the season, and their own particular championship battle keenly fought down at the bottom with Marussia and HRT. But here's the battle out in the lead. Webber, Rosberg, Alonso and Vettel are just getting a bit detached from Alonso now. Lewis Hamilton behind them.
And Bird now 10 seconds of that slow on those intermediates.
Such a shame for Jean-Eric Berg. Would have been his best finish in Formula One. He's going to finish out of the points. Paul di Resta and Nico Hulkenberg 7th and 8th. Di Resta makes it 21 races consecutively reaching the finish line. Getting near to the all-time record, I thought, there as well. Final lap of the race. Mark Webber, who hadn't led a lap in 2012, coming into this Monaco Grand Prix, has now half a lap to go. It's been fairly smooth sailing. He's nursed those tyres. He's managed to get the life out of them. He has been under pressure from Rosberg, who Martin has just not been able to find a way past so far.
No, he's still trying, he's still thinking about it on this last lap. He can't help but feel that Webber's still very much got this under control. But of course, there is that potential protest of the Red Bull after the race. We need to keep an eye on. We'll be reporting, of course, post the race. We'll be getting on top of that if there is any action. And look how close those top four are after 77.5 laps.
It's not going to stop Mark Webber spraying the champagne round, though. Any threats of a potential protest here this afternoon. He's won in Monaco before. He's aiming now to become the first Australian to win twice on the streets of this principality. They're all queuing up behind him to join in the celebrations, but he's going to be standing on top of the podium as a 6th different winner out of 6 races in 2012. It's Mark Webber who wins the Monaco Grand Prix. History is made in Formula One. 6 of the best in 2012, and it's Webber on top in Monte Carlo from Nico Rosberg, who comes home 2nd for Mercedes, and Fernando Alonso